what we wanted to do today was to talk a little bit about, before we get to composable architecture, we'll talk a little bit about IKEA, where we are, who we are, our genesis, because it's a relatively new brand in India. We want to talk a little bit about IKEA Digital, what we stand for, where we are, what our aim, where we are going around that. And then we'll dive into composable architecture. So bear with us for a few minutes early on as we set the context, and then we'll sort of get down to composable architecture setup, if you would. And for the clicker to work, I need to walk across. No, it's the other way around. There you go. So this is, IKEA, about 80 years old. The picture on the left really is our first warehouse. This is in Sweden. This is where our founder, Ingvar, stored his stationeries and pens when he started sort of dealing with the business. With this 80 years and this humble beginning, the IKEA world has really pushed the boundary in terms of retail, in terms of being the largest retail furnishing business in the world, in more than about 40 countries right now. The one on the right really is a flat pack. It's a very proud innovation within IKEA. It is really to sort of think about how we store furniture, but more importantly, as customers and consumers, how do you take furniture back at home in your cars? So if you've experienced buying from IKEA solid stuff, which comes in flat pack boxes, that's the innovation boundary we were pushing decades ago. And it isn't just about how we store and how we deliver. It is really how we design furniture all the way back, which can enable us with some of these innovations, if you would. The motto that we live with is make better everyday life for the many people. And the idea is for us to be able to look, understand our audience, and see what we can sort of work through with them. As we sort of talk through this, like I said, IKEA as a business is fairly large, is relatively new in India. But we have, these are statistics from last year. IKEA has multiple businesses, multiple entities. We are representing something called Inca LLP, which is the largest sub-retail business in IKEA. We present in about 30 countries. We've done business close to about 42 billion. Overall IKEA revenue is about 50 billion. So fairly large sized organization. Inca employs today about 1.8 lakhs of employees around the world. And as you can see, we've had about 4 billion hits on IKEA.com. With about over 400 stores, with about 782 million number of customers that we have serviced in the past years or so. And we are looking at how do we do this differently as we go forward from here on. So as you see, this is what we call a blue box in IKEA. Blue box is, as you think about your large, standard, massive retail formats that we have. For audiences in Bangalore, and quite kudos to the commitment if you've traveled all the way to the IKEA store, but that is a place where we expect all of us to come. It isn't a place to just shop. It's a place where you experience with your family. It's a place where you try out our food. We try out other aspects of shopping, which is not just about go have a transaction and come back. But then we realize that it isn't there for the large cities like Bangalore. So we are also experimenting with smaller stores, which we call city stores. We've got a couple of them in Mumbai, and we are looking at expanding sort of what that would look like in Bangalore and other areas, if you would. But the engagement with India, if you think about it, we've got about 3 large stores right now. We've got in Mumbai, when Hyderabad was our first store, and then we've got in Bangalore. And there's a fairly large roadmap. We've got a couple of small city stores in Mumbai. But IKEA isn't new to India. We've been here about 40 years. We've been working with over 65 suppliers. We've been working with about those 65 suppliers who have more than 50,000 people directly employed, and nearly 500,000 people that work in supply chain from India. Because IKEA has been sourcing from India for a very long time. Now's the time that sort of comes back for us as consumers. But we don't stop at furniture. So if you think about IKEA as just a furniture or furnishing store, that isn't it. We are transforming, changing in terms of what we will do. In certain markets, we're looking at providing financial services to be able to buy. In certain markets, we are selling renewable energy. In Sweden, we're experimenting with that model. And in certain markets, and we are looking at how can we do this in India, we are looking at buying back furniture and creating the circular economy around furniture. So you don't throw away, you buy back, you get credit to buy other aspects of furniture, and the furniture that we buy back, we sort of refurbish and put it on sale as refurbished furniture. So that's a lot for us to think about. If you think, and IKEA publishes something very interesting, which is a non-technical thing, but I will leave you with as the last, is IKEA publishes something called Life at Home Report. It's a fabulous report, very, very global in nature, to talk about what are the changing consumer preferences. It's available online. If you want to have a click, have a read through that, very interesting insights in terms of how the market is shifting around the board. But then this is the last bit, for my part, and I'll hand back to Swapnika to talk about digital. with the philosophy in IKEA core is the best is yet to be done. We got to change everything, and IKEA is on a massive journey to transform itself, to transform from the large retailer which was only in Europe to being a global omni-channel retailer. And for to be able to do that, we need to completely push the boundary with digital. And that's where we are sort of on our digital journey. So let me just invite back Swapnika to come and talk about that.
So we've got a little bit of a video for you. And hopefully I can get this to start. There it is. So let me summarize a little bit of what we played in that clip there, since the audio is not working. As you see, our vision is basically about creating a better everyday life for the many people. And that means we are inclusive. We actively encourage being different, being individual, showing your own self and being yourself. This is across, and that is what reflects in our products, which are created with a very democratic design. And this is basically to create a better future and a better planet for days to come. So just coming back a little bit now to what Varun handed me off with, which is about Group Digital. This is our digital arm within IKEA. So you know IKEA is a furniture retailer, but we have a great digital capability that is set up across the world. And when we think about, and we are on a journey to transform digital, when we think about digital transformation, what's the first thing that comes to mind? You think about online websites where you can buy great, fantastic products. But when you talk about digital transformation, it's about creating a team and an organization that leads with the digital DNA. To be able to create this team, you need to give them access to data, be transparent, and to make it data really easily accessible. And what that then leads to is creating an IT landscape which enables our products and services to land with speed and with high quality. Because IKEA is about form, democratic products, and really high quality products. So how do we enable that through digital? And at the center of all of this, like I mentioned earlier, is people, and people is customers, all of us, and people is also our co-workers. So we are very human-centric. That's basically the core of our digital strategy. Human-centric nature, human-centric technology. And as we get more and more human-centric, work towards getting more human-centric, we will get closer, we will be more attractive, we will be more relevant to our customers, right? So human-centric technology is at the heart of everything that we do at IKEA, as we create better homes, better lives, and a better planet. And as the video played itself out and the audio was not there, it's also a better IKEA for future generations to come. So that's a little bit of the context of how we look at digital transformation. And let me give you a little bit of an understanding of how we are set up at Group Digital through the next few slides. So as I mentioned, we are set up globally across 8 hubs in 6 locations. So that's Philadelphia, in Sweden, and then in Amsterdam, Shanghai, India, and Madrid. So this is a team of very committed 5,000 co-workers. We look at 1,800 products which we are trying to transform, and we are on a journey to transform those. And that creates fantastic opportunities to really innovate, to bring your capabilities and to actually enable and transform us on that journey. So this is a place where you get to try, we talk a lot about innovation when we are in IT. This is the place that we get to really experiment with it and to be able to really see the results of what you're implementing. This is how we are set up. Basically, we are set up as 6 product domains, and that is customer fulfillment, inventory logistics. It's the standard retail supply chain, right? People, business support, and ventures and services. These are supported by shared services like identity access management, service management operations, and digital functions like cybersecurity and architecture, right? And all of the other agile coaches, strategy, roadmap, etc. But when we get to, so how do we get to the composable architecture, which is the topic of our discussion today? I mentioned that when you look at digital transformation, you typically start thinking about just an online journey, right? But how do you really get embedded into the business? Traditionally, all of us who worked in IT, we know we get looked at as those guys in the IT department. And they've created some solution which is probably causing some challenges to the business. We feel that there is a perception also that IT really doesn't understand business. So this is about moving towards and getting embedded in the business and actively driving the business outcomes and the business impact. So it's contributing to the growth and it's also driving the business outcome. So we're moving from being an IT department to becoming an embedded part of the business. But how do we decide, whether we are doing the right things? So whenever we invest, we are a cost-conscious organization, and cost-conscious is one of our values simply because that's how we serve the many people. So when we invest in digital solutions, we are looking at being agile. We are questioning why are we doing what we are investing in, why we are investing in, and are we really staying true to that vision of what products we are looking at. Also to realize our ambitions, of better stores, better lives, and a better planet, we are, and also our digital objectives, we are looking at insourcing and building our in-house capability, and we are expanding rapidly. We are set up here in Bangalore, next to Manyata Tech Park, in a place called Carley Town, and we are a team of really passionate individuals. So the 2 domains that we have here is basically people and business support. And we are moving from monolithic setups to really driving the agility through composable architecture. When we talk about composable architecture, we talk about microservices, APIs, cloud native, event mesh, data mesh, all kinds of things. So what does composable architecture really mean? And we have a bit of a surprise here also for you. So we have someone from my team, Srini, he's an expert on that, and he will join us and take us through that journey. So Srini, maybe you help us understand what is composable architecture and why do organizations need it? Do you see that organizations are moving more and more towards composable architecture?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Srinivas Verma. So I'm an engineering manager in business support domain at Group Digital in Inca. So my favorite IKEA product is Kallax shelf because it's very flexible for me to plan my storage space, and also it can be used as a room separator. Okay, so coming to the composable architecture, what is composable architecture? So composable architecture is a design approach similar to an IKEA furniture or Lego. You all know how Lego works. I mean, so you can build an end product by assembling some of the few components, but with the same set of components, you will interchange and you can build another product. So coming to the IKEA, my favorite IKEA product, Kallax shelf, probably you can see that as a basic storage space built on few components, but it is very flexible. You can plug out and plug in. You see this drawers here. It can simply plug out in case if you want to use that as a letter tray, it is a just plug in. It's as simple as that. Tomorrow my daughter may come and ask for, okay, please keep some space for me for my gadgets. I can plug it, new component there. If my wife asks for a letter tray, I can just pull it out and I can place it. So as simple, this is how the composable architecture is. Coming to the digital world, what is composable architecture? Composable architecture is typically built on top of microservices, APIs, cloud natives, and headless solutions. But there is a major variation from these solutions because composable architecture is more business bounded context. So this gives the flexibility. At the same time, when we take example in a digital world, let's take this composed experience. What is this all about? We have multi-channel experience for finding out IKEA digital catalog in form of you can use web, you can go to a physical store, find out what is the catalog available, you can use chat and mobile. Let's think about, is this channel enough now? Are we moving towards some multiple channels again? Is it possible that there will be a voice-based catalog search? Yes, it might be required. Is it composable in a form now so that it will be scalable and can be pluggable with the new solutions? It's very simple. If we have a composable experience, what we have right now, we can plug into an NLP module which will enable the voice catalog search. It's not end there. Of course, if you take Indian market, we have so many languages people speak. How we can able to extend to the each and every NLP module which language translation does, and it can does the search. Okay, so what is coming out of composable architecture? Its first thing is flexibility, because you can able to plug out and plug in. We never know how business changes, requirement changes. It should be composable, and you can able to pull out the component which is not required and without disturbing the other components. That is the flexibility it will provide. Second thing is agility in terms of it is a very important time to the market the needs, because we are in a competitive world, right? We should be speed in terms of delivering to the market. Third one is cost effectiveness. The kind of reuse what we do here, it is really giving the cost effective solutions.
So I know some of this stuff is probably new. Some of this is probably not new. If you go out to our IKEA booth out there, you'll see that we can assemble and we are using reusable components around that. But help us understand, Shini, for this audience, what does this mean to the large monolith ERPs? Is that the end of it?
Definitely not really, because we need to understand and realize one rule does not fit for all. Let's take composable architecture also comes with its own challenges. Being it, there will be a multiple workflows which are in complex, and also you have different data models, and you have a different security constraint, and there are governance. There are challenges around the composable architecture based solutions. At the same time, system of records, which are predominantly, if it is not completely, which will be on ERPs or monoliths. So those things which are tried and tested on ERPs, which is a way to go. Let's take example, financial ledger. The kind of business changes from the last 30 years, if you see, ledger, credits and debits. That hasn't changed. Is it changing, going to be changed in future? In next 20 years? May not be. When there is no change happens, why we need to think about composable architecture when we have a challenges associated to that? First thing, we need to understand where the business is changing. If frequent changes are happening, yes, we need to think about composable way. But if there is no business changing, why we have tried and tested solutions are there, like ERPs, SAPs, we can go with that. Okay, and the other thing is ERPs like SAP is also going in a composable mode, which is very interesting sign. If you take earlier, SAP used to have their financial solution, HR solution, procurement solution in single monolithic box. But now it is formed as a Concur for the travel and SuccessFactors for HR and procurement. Hariba is coming in form of procurement things that they are also going in a composable way. So we need to be on composable architecture, new age solutions as well as monolithic. We need to live with the two, and it is very important to talk to each other. How it will happen, that is where your architecture magic plays a key role.
If we have to look at IKEA's strategy, right? What is IKEA's strategy on composable architecture?
Okay, so we started our journey in 2019 because IKEA's markets are really different. We have multiple markets, market to market and geography to geography. We have multiple variations of solution. That is how we forced to move towards highly customized solutions, where we found enough experience in challenges in handling those highly customized monolithic solutions. So then we have started in 2019 in a small way. We build our building blocks in form of a discovery catalogs, which will be helping. Let me show you that. Okay, so this is how our core building blocks of our composable architecture, which will be built on top of foundation fabrics like event mesh. It is enabled. We have API fabric and we have a data fabric. All this fabric, if you see, there are catalog which will help discovery of assets what it is having. It gives agility for the developer to pull and compose the solution. On top of it, the key component orchestration fabric, which will orchestrate all these components and it will turn into packaged business capabilities. So when it comes to our discovery building blocks, we have in form of system master catalog and API catalog, which will also talk in terms of web and event API. So we have a proper setup in terms of building blocks. In IKEA, we start using the domain-driven design, where we will build software components, subsystems, systems, all in form of composable mode, which will enable the business capabilities. See here, if your systems are working in a monolithic, you cannot able to spread across the systems. Here we build the components in a composable form so that you can able to build a solution across the system in a composable way.
Thank you very much for your time.